gets really stupid hot, and the whole case is made out of plastic, so that's basically the whole case is an insulator, which doesn't really make sense. This needs to have some type of metallic element in it that acts as the heatsink, because what's happening right here, when you run it for like anything longer than like 2 minutes, you can feel these tabs right here that are like sank down in there and touching, I'm guessing probably part of like the main, getting like really hot, and this is acting as a heatsink, and that's the only heatsink that seems to be in the entire case really. So this whole thing, although this cover is nice for holding in your hand and maybe possibly bouncing off the ground and not disintegrating, is a good idea, but not having a metallic element to the frame is a terrible idea. And although they did a good job updating the software and everything and being able to edit 360 footage, it's really cool. More thought process to this, I would think, and there's a little bit extra, a few extra design elements, features would have made this a really superly fantastic platform. But right now it's 360 mode. It's kind of just like a gimmick feature, really. It's like, okay, so this right here shoots 360, but it only shoots it for 6.5 minutes, and then you have to have a thermal sensor in here that tells your camera to shut down before it damages it. That just doesn't really seem like a good idea in reality, you know? So what I'm hoping right here is with this and all this heavyweight stuff, heavyweight aluminum, that's gonna sink off some of the heat elements to the outside of the body that's already resisting the thermal exchange. Only real straight path way of fast convection is out these little tabs right here. There needs to be some better way, like this whole outer ridge needs to be thick stainless steel or some type of heavy duty aluminum at least, and that would probably enable the sensors to run longer too. It just doesn't make sense to make a camera like this unless their entire main thought process is just getting a product to market and making as much profit as possible. I mean, yeah, sure, I guess they did that. And it does resist somewhere from when I ran it across the pavement, but it didn't really scratch it very much because it is actually like a semi-squishy material over it that kind of pushes and bounces. So what happened is it just kind of bounced on the pavement right here, touched on the corner, and then it just pushed it up and then just lightly touched. Nice. It's like invisible. Very cool. There we go. Fully assembled. Oh, that feels so much better now. Only thing is it's harder to hold on to, it feels like. But it feels like that is way more solid now. Whether or not that's going to translate into extra G-forces acting on the camera itself, if it was to ever touch down, or that would help disperse. I think it would help disperse because the way this is situated in there, it's not exactly 100% tight on the frame, although it is form-fitting. There is a little tiny bit of tolerance clearance, so it hugs the rubber, but it's not really torquing or squeezing on the frame of the camera much. So if this was to move, the frame feels as if, or looks like, the frame could absorb it, disperse it, and then it's going to transfer. So this would technically probably be absorbing and or dispersing more kinetic impact, thus decelerating and or reducing the overall felt impact on the camera sensors itself. This is the adapter for the standard. Overall, so far, this seems really good. Gonna have to go out and test it, but it seems really good. The only thing is, though, is that it's already really hard to skate, I'm noticing, holding a selfie stick and a camera. Just having that extra, like, couple pounds in your hand on one side for some reason, at least for me, makes it really freaking hard to skate. Kind of an interesting thing you wouldn't think would be so hard or difficult, but kind of throws me off, and I really don't want to do any type of move that I know I have to like reposition fast to do. So it really definitely kind of like limits my skate ability for sure. But this case looks great. This will be great for hiking, running it into trees, smashing it off of the ground once or twice, or hitting something. But that is one thing to think of, is that looks like it'll make it impossible for a glass screen protector. One thing I just noticed with this is that it makes it a little bit heavier, to the point of selfie stick not being designed originally to hold. Plus this right here is a anodized slick aluminum surface trying to match onto this plastic right here. This is just a straight rigid thick piece of aluminum that doesn't move or torque. So what happens here, mixed with the extra weight and the slick surface here, is when you're moving this around, that totally moves, which is not going to be good, especially if it's already doing this right here on the lowest setting. There's going to be a lot more torque on the outer end when you're trying to use this for 360 shots. That's probably going to mess it up. One thing to think about, because you can't torque it down enough. Like, you can keep reefing on that, but I think that's going to snap, and it's never going to get tight enough. It's just always going to be a bit loose. So what we could do here is probably going to have to file or rough sand this down right here, this texture, so it bites in there a little bit better, and that'll probably fix that. Although there still is a lot of extra weight, noticeable extra weight. This case probably weighs about the same as the GoPro itself. So you can see, it doesn't take much of a shake to start moving it. It moves very easily.